I'm a Roswellwood Cultural Services Manager for North Herts Museum in Hitchin, and I'm going to be talking about William Ratcliffe's lovely new painting, The Red Curtain, that the museum has just acquired at auction. Okay, so what I'm about to do is open our really exciting new William Ratcliffe painting that our technician Ian and I have just collected from London from a massive warehouse. So this is a painting we bought at auction at the end of October. We were really lucky to have grant aid from the Victorian Albert Museum, Arts Council Fund, from the Hertfordshire Heritage Fund and from the Art Fund. And so without that money, there's no way we could have bought this painting for North Herts Museum. So we're really grateful to all the grant givers. So let's see what we got. Ratcliffe was an artist who was born in 1870 and he came to the brand new Garden City probably about 1906, and he came as a graphic designer rather than a full-time artist. It's very exciting actually. The reason we were so excited to be able to get this picture at auction, and I'm so happy that we were the successful bidder, is because it shows a room in a house on the Wilbury Road in Letchworth Garden City where William Ratcliffe, the artist, spent much of his life. He didn't live in Letchworth the whole time. He lived in Surrey for a bit, he lived in Hampstead Garden suburb with his brother for a bit, but he always seemed to come back to Letchworth, and because he was so poor when he was working as an artist throughout his life, he occasionally rented his own place, but sometimes just stayed with friends and family. And this house belonged to Stanley Parker, who was the brother of Barry Parker, the original Garden City architect. And Stanley Parker was the art teacher at St Christopher School, art and craft teacher, and a very good craftsman and furniture designer in his own right. And this was his house, and this was their downstairs main room. And you can see the little corner seat here, and a nice arts and crafts table. And the painting's called The Red Curtain, and we can see there is a nice red curtain here. The red curtain's quite interesting because the owner of this house, Stanley Parker, spent what we'd now call an internship with the architect Charles Voysey. And we know that Voysey particularly liked having red curtains in his house because he thought that at night, perhaps in the winter when you were coming home, you could see the red curtain lit up from inside, and it made the house look rather cheerful. So it's quite interesting that Stanley Parker also has a red curtain here. What it shows us is an early Garden City house just in the beginning of the First World War. We think it was painted around 1916. I mean, you wouldn't know there was a war on from this picture, but it was certainly exhibited in 1916 by William Ratcliffe. The colour that Ratcliffe has used in this picture, this mauve particularly, is very typical of painters from the Camden Town School of Painting. The wall was not actually painted purple, but at the Camden Town group, it was particularly for shadows. They used a very distinctive purple colour, and actually one critic said that they had the disease of purplitis. We do have photographs of this room in around about 1909, 1910, and you can see from the photograph how very similar it looks. This house had a very large kind of open plan living area with a dining area and a sitting area, and this is a little corner just near the fireplace, so it's the corner of one very large open plan room with, as you can see, arts and crafts furniture. This table we see in other William Ratcliffe pictures, and a very nice rush-seated chair, probably made by a maker called Clisset. They were very popular amongst kind of arty people in the early 20th century. And of course we're really lucky because it's an oil painting, and after the First World War, Ratcliffe generally was too poor to afford oil and canvas anymore, so most of his works are watercolours. And again, this museum, we're really fortunate to have more watercolours and more oils by Ratcliffe than any other museum in the country or the world, really. So it's really appropriate that this painting should join our other Ratcliffes in the collection, and it's just such a thrill really that we've managed to get this painting, because it could have gone to a private buyer, and it's fantastic that thanks to all the grant givers we've got it for the public forever.